Yo, I'm the jester.
Master here.
And we got the master right here. And we got prisoner 2. Now, you probably saw we had an interview a minute ago with the prisoner. We got prisoner 2. There's an interview with him up top. Check it out. But this is a specific one. I'm going to let the master introduce it.
This gentleman was found, extradited, run around the country, and then delivered to our particular area of the woods. Would you mind explaining how long that took?
So before I got picked up on a violation of probation for pissing dirty for marijuana, it took a month and a half for my state to come and pick me up on that violation, which is a technical violation. I didn't break the law. It's just a technical violation of probation. It took them a month and a half to come and pick me up, and once they picked me up, they drove me around the country for 18 days, almost 19 days, before I was brought back to the county jail that I, set the warrant out for my arrest. During that extradition process, it was one of the most inhumane things I've ever witnessed.
Okay, number one, where were you picked up?
My warrant was out of Orange County, Orlando, Florida.
And where were you when
I was in Tucson, Arizona. They picked me up in Tucson, Arizona, and drove me. First, I was shackled 3 different ways. Around my hands were shackled to my waist, and my waist were shackled to my feet, and my feet were shackled together.
Like a belly chain system?
Yep. And to my feet. So my hands to my feet, to my waist to the bus. Locked us in a cage in the back of a van with like a paint van. Like a
AC?
a little
AC in the van?
No AC. It was just a little fan in the back.
Were you in a seat, buckled in?
No seats. It was just a metal bench, and there was 8 other males in there, and then 4 females and 3 officers in a little tiny handyman van. Yes.
So it was like a Ford E250 van or something.
I think
van?
if it was legal and you were driving it with seatbelts, I think you could hold 8 people max, and we had 15 or 16 people in there.
Plus the driver.
Crammed in there like sardines.
Right.
Well, the driver and the guard.
Correctional guard, right. So you're talking about a 20-person convoy.
Right, and they stopped every 5 days so we could have 24 hours in a county jail. So we would drive around 5 days straight shackled.
How'd you pee?
They would stop about every 4 or 5 hours to a county jail.
4 or 5 hours and no AC, driving through the heat of the south of the United States, from Arizona to Florida.
They picked me up in Arizona.
And it's August here, people.
And so you had something to drink while you were back there, right?
They give you one 8-ounce bottle of water every 3 hours.
8 fucking ounces?
8 ounces every 3 hours.
No
and the reason why they don't give you more is because they don't want people to be.
No jacket coat?
No jacket
The reason why
Bullshit.
they give you 8 ounces is because they don't want you to be pissing every 5 minutes, or that's what they say. So they limit your water intake.
So they literally treat you like a commodity. We're going to limit how much vital, life-giving substance you can have, so that we don't have to be stopping all that much, because people pee, and that can't be happening.
And by the time I got back to the county jail, they had to put me in the medical dorm for 2 weeks because I was so sluggish and dehydrated.
But you're a healthy individual, right?
Tell us you look like you're what, 6'2", 190 pounds?
Yep, exactly.
So did you have any? You didn't have any medical infirmaries, but did they ask you if you had any medical infirmaries?
What do you mean?
Did they ask if you had anything wrong with
you? Any issues, if you're
I had
hypoglycemia?
Obviously they didn't, because they didn't even know the fucking lingo. Obviously they would have. Did you have any medical issues? They didn't ask you, obviously. You'd know.
They picked me up in Tucson. They picked me up in Tucson, Arizona. They drove me to Northern California. From Northern California to Utah, then to Las Vegas, then to San Diego, California, back to Las Vegas,
and
back to
From
California.
Arkansas to Orlando.
You're coming from Arizona.
And then we stopped in Arizona 5 days later. Like I said, we stop every 5 days. They brought me back to the jail where they originally picked me up from 5 days later because we had to pick up another person there. And
so
then
they could have just left you there.
They could have just left me there, yeah. And then we started heading east to Florida where I needed to be. But that's not it. We didn't go straight to Florida. We went from Texas to Kentucky to Tennessee, then up to Chicago, St. Louis, Missouri, Quincy, Illinois, Alabama. We stayed in Texas for 4 days, driving through through the state of Texas for
So
about
they
4 or
took
5 days.
shortcut.
Sure. A crazy thing is that I really want to say is when we drove through Texas and we went to Kentucky, actually Tennessee, I'm sorry. The only reason why we went to Tennessee is because the drivers had to pick up their prescription of Adderall. We were supposed to.
You are fucking kidding me right now.
I swear to God. We were supposed to head from Texas.
I find that funny.
The guys, the drivers were from Tennessee. Yeah.
You're bullshitting me right now.
The-
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, man.
Yeah,
You're bullshitting
the
me
drivers,
right now.
the drivers were from Tennessee, so their prescription was there. And when we got to Texas, we were supposed to go from Texas to Illinois. Well, we drove all the way to Tennessee because they're not allowed to transfer their prescription from there to Chicago where we were
So
going.
they didn't just go there for the script, they went there only for the script.
Only for the prescription. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they got the prescription, he passed it around to all his drivers. So his prescription, his law-abiding
So you
citizen,
watched this
I
happen?
witnessed the drug deal.
So there
pretty
was
much.
a drug deal going
We're
down.
gone by corrections officer.
Federal agents.
Oh,
Federal
U.S.
agents.
Marshals.
Federal agents. Yep. And
Oh,
then
my
from
fucking-
Tennessee, then we drove to Illinois, St.
This
Louis,
is one of
that
the
whew
reasons
thing.
why we need to get into the government.
But here's my
better
issue.
than your
Here's
thing I wanna
another
bring
thing.
up.
Once we got to Florida, we drove from like Gainesville, North Florida, and we passed my jail. We drove by my jail on the way to dropping me off. We drove by my jail all the way to Key West to pick up somebody. They didn't drop me off in Orlando until the way back. The reason for it is because for every mile that we drive, they get paid more. So instead of dropping me off, they were like,
So they're incentivized to cattle herd you.
yeah. And it took us five more days from passing my jail.
So you became a mobile cash cow.
Absolutely. It took them 5 days from after.
No, because you actually have to water cows when you transfer
They got 8 ounces.
them.
After we passed my jail, it was 5 days before I got back there, and that was because
5 days on the road like that.
straight, no sleeping.
On the
And if
road,
you think you
yeah.
can sleep in a
Can't
van
lay down, can
with
you?
you, when we're sitting in the van, our legs are like this. The guy across from me.
No one can see you on camera. Come on camera so they can see your body and show.
Our legs are we're so pushed together. Our legs are locked in together.
The prisoner will show us in a second. I mean, here's the thing I want to understand. These guys are doing these drugs and all that. You know, actually, let's switch gears. This is something I want to ask you. Prisoner, everybody knows the prisoner is white, but prisoner, identify your ethnicity, prisoner too.
I'm half Puerto Rican, half Italian.
Oh, so you're
dark meat.
You're dark meat, in
Yes,
other
ma'am.
words.
Yes.
Would you say that you were treated worse than the white prisoners?
Okay. When I was being extradited, not so much because they were as official as they could be, even though they were doing drug deals of Adderall. But once I got to the county jail here in Orlando, the 90% of the correctional officers are black, and usually the profiling on the streets, it's like the white cops are messing with the black folks. But
And vice
and then
versa.
once you get in the correctional facility, all the COs there are black, and they will treat the white people absolutely.
I don't give a shit if it's
horrible.
niggers hating crackers or crackers hating niggers. They're both retarded, okay?
Right.
Racism is racism. If you hate someone based on the color of their skin,
That's how it was.
and you really believe that, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
No, if you hate, period.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, stop hating, folks. We're way over time. We're going to cut this into a two-parter. We'll see you in just a second. Part 2, check it out down there. We're going to have the prisoner tell us a little bit more about his transport.